Sound?
So,
Okay.
I think it's
Testing. Okay, great. All right, I'd like to call to order this special select board organizational meeting on Thursday, March 9th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Our first order of business, pledge of allegiance. Anyone would like to lead it?
I would.
All right, Rob, you lead.
I
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Rocket. We usually, it's not listed here, but we're supposed to do public comments, but we'll take a moment for that. And if we want to do select board comments, we can. I just ask that we, keep them short. All right, any public comment? We'll start with people in the room. Anyone on Zoom?
I'm sorry, I'm just logging on.
Okay, we'll wait a second and see if there's anyone on Zoom who has a public comment.
We can do a quick select board comment if you want.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Lanny, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I would like to thank all the Hartford voters that voted for me on Tuesday. I really appreciate your support. And for those of you that did not vote for me, please allow me the opportunity to gain your support in the future. I also want to say thank you to Janelle Shahuski, who was my opponent in this race. And I found her to be very engaging and very enjoyable to have a conversation with her on Tuesday. So thank you very much, Janelle.
Thank you, Lanny. Rocket, anything?
I wanted to thank town clerk and BCA volunteers for hosting an awesome successful election. I wanted to congratulate you, Mike, and you, Lanny, for successful re-election. And as always, it is an honor to serve this town. So looking forward to another year at this board.
Great, thank you. Ellie, anything?
No, just congrats to you both too.
Thank you. Mary?
Congratulations to everybody. I did have one comment that I thought was interesting, and I'm not quite sure if there's anything we can do. But a woman came up to me at the tabulator. She's new in town. She had a very difficult time finding a polling place. I talked to Lisa about it. Lisa said she doesn't have anything to do with it, that the school maintenance guys puts out the boards. But so maybe something to think about, how we can make it easier for newer people to find the polling place.
Dan? Kim, anything?
No, I think that, and there's currently no hands.
Okay. I'd like to echo what Lanny said and thank the voters of Hartford for re-electing us. Proud to continue serving. And so it sounds like there's no hands up on Zoom.
That's great.
So we will go to our next item, reorganization of board positions. So we need to elect a chair, a vice chair, and a clerk. I'm willing to entertain motions, probably starting with chair, then vice chair, then clerk. Ellie?
Mr. Current Chair, I would make a motion that we keep Mike Hoyt as chair.
A second. For a second. Dan? Any discussion? Ben?
I'd like to throw my hat in the ring for chair. And I say this, do the following. This last year, I've seen Mike struggle sometimes with empathy towards some people that have spoken. And I see the struggle in terms of dealing with, I don't want to say it, the time element involved in our meetings in terms of emphasis on some things that need to spend more emphasis on and other things that go on for periods of extended period of time. And I also wonder about the ability to interact with a broader base of individuals. So
Okay. We have a motion on the floor.
I'm not,
I'm
Yeah.
not going to vote on it because I'm nominated.
do you want chair?
Yes, of course.
Oh, okay.
All right, we're going to do this by roll. I won't vote. Lanny?
I vote no.
Rocket?
I'll vote yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
And I will abstain. So it's 5-1 for one. All right, I will take a motion for vice chair.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Can you hold just one second, just because I'm doing minutes. I'm sorry to slow us down here. Okay. Hey,
Okay. Take a motion for vice chair.
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
I'd like to nominate Lanny for vice chair if you'd accept it.
I would accept that nomination.
I think it'd be interesting, and I would think it'd be good. Lanny, I know how much time you commit. I think I agree with some of your critiques of Mike, but I think on the whole, one thing that I noticed that I would say Mike did well last year is keeping balance. And even when, for example, sometimes I was the person to throw the meeting out of balance, and I do respect that. I know that it's not an easy position, and but I also know how much time and energy you put in, Lanny, and I know that you and Mike don't always agree eye to eye. So that might be an interesting balance to have in our leadership on the board. So
I have the time element involved that I could spend on things, and I do spend a tremendous amount of time, but I do have the time to make all of the meetings for the agenda setting meetings, and I am very engaged in the process of the town. So.
Okay, we have a motion from Lanny as vice chair. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Kim. Discussion? All right, well,
I do have a discussion. I just want to say, like, there's a, Dan, I mean, you're an excellent vice chair, and if you're still interested, I think we can entertain that vote. But I do agree that I think it is an exercise that we could spread around a little, and I'm certainly not interested. So this is no referendum on your service.
I would agree with that as well. It's not an
But I think that there's a willingness and it would be an interesting way to expand the dialogue.
okay, any more discussion? So the motion is Lanny for vice chair. I'll do it by roll. Rocket?
Aye.
Ally?
Aye.
Deb?
No,
Dick?
No.
Kim?
Aye.
And I will vote no. So
Is that 3-3?
3-3. So that motion fails.
Yeah, all those.
We'll take another motion.
Okay, wait, I have to record and then Laney abstain, right?
Yep, Lanny abstained.
I don't know, I could vote yes. That would break the tie. I don't have to abstain. I could vote yes.
Mary?
I'll make a motion. I still think that for Dan to continue to be vice chair, I think he has worked hard. He knows a lot more than I could ever know, and knows the procedures, the process, and I feel confident that he's open-minded.
And we have a motion for Dan as vice chair. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Ally will second. Discussion?
Sorry, I cannot support Mr. Fraser as chair. Numerous occasions he has disrespected people of the public and disrespected myself as well. He does not engage in the discussion during the meetings whatsoever, and he has not engaged with our training with Abundant Sun for growth potential there as well. So I think that due to lack of engagement on his behalf, I don't believe he is a good fit for the chair, for the vice chair of this board, due to the fact that he does not engage. Had he participated in more discussion, and with Abundant Sun in particular, about trying to grow as an individual and more participation with the town business during meetings, I would support him, but I cannot due to those situations. And the fact that he's been disrespectful to myself and members of the public on numerous occasions.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't hold Lanny's position, but I think I still think that it would be interesting to have Lanny as vice chair. So I think I'll vote no, just purely on the basis of that. But see if we can send it back.
Okay, any discussion?
Yeah, I have discussion and it's kind of related, but for the last vote, I need you to remind me who voted no and who voted yes.
Yeah, I did not abstain from that vote, so I did vote yes. So
I don't think it's appropriate to vote on your own
I don't
nomination.
It doesn't matter if you think it's appropriate or not. It's acceptable.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, you didn't vote last time, so.
You just automatically said I abstained.
All right, well, do you want to revote on Lane?
You automatically said abstain without me being able to cast a vote. You passed over me. You passed over me and didn't
I
call
didn't
it.
realize you would actually take a vote on your own.
You didn't even give me the chance, though, Mike. You just passed over me.
I'm sorry, I just thought everyone was.
You did not call on me.
Same set of rules.
Yes. You didn't call on me, so.
Well, this is interesting.
I mean, do you know for a fact, or should I just be Googling?
This came up at school meeting because it was when they were voting to, this was several years ago, to bump up their meeting stipend. And Chuck was there and he did say that, you could participate, you could vote on something that had to do with yourself.
Okay, well, I guess we'll.
I will
revote on that
certainly
one.
look it up now to.
The vote was already had.
Wait,
No,
we
it
also
wasn't
have-
because I didn't ask for a vote, so it was an invalid vote. We have to do it again.
All right, so we have a motion on the table right now.
This is a
Interesting.
This is definitely not in line with Robert's Rules of Orders.
So. What if,
I mean, look, I don't think that it's the best that Lanny votes for himself. It does seem permissible by Robert's Rules of Order, and I don't think I think given the chance that he wasn't able to vote on that, we should just return to that vote, is what it seems.
Fair enough.
is everyone comfortable with that?
Everyone okay if we revote on Lanny's nomination for vice chair?
Are,
I don't think you need to revote.
No, I think we did
Yeah.
Sure.
because I didn't call on you, so then we moved on, so I don't think it was,
Sure.
I think that's a motion we have to revote. I'm sorry for my oversight on that. And we can take the vote again.
But we currently have a motion and a second on the floor for Dan's nomination.
Okay, well, if people want to revote Lanny's, we can withdraw. Someone who made the motion.
Well, I mean,
Withdraw,
don't you feel like everything that's follows improper procedure is then downstream invalidated, or is that not?
I would say we vote Lanny's nomination again if he feels that he would have voted for himself. And we'll see what the result of that is. So I think someone should rescind their motion that they made to nominate Dan as vice chair.
So I guess I'll rescind.
And
vote to rescind my-
I'll rescind my second if I need to do that.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion
At this- at
on
this-
Lanny.
Mr. Chair, I will make a motion to nominate Lanny for vice chair.
Okay, do we have a second?
I second.
Kim will second. Shall we just call the roll? Any discussion?
Yeah,
Lanny?
it's at this point, now that we've gone through this procedure, the vote's gonna change.
Well, Lanny, how about you just
So,
vote?
I will vote, yes,
Okay,
I will vote yes,
thank you.
Okay, well, I'm gonna call the roll. I'll start with Lanny.
yes.
Rocket?
Yes.
Ally?
Nay, apologies.
Mary?
No,
Dan?
No.
Kim?
Yes.
And I'll vote no.
Okay, so hold on. So me, Rocket, Laney, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone else knows. So give me just a second, please, because I'm not very good at this. And I'm in a form that I'm not used to.
And what was the original vote, please?
Original vote was
Ally changed.
I changed my vote.
changed her vote.
Oh.
The original vote was
Okay.
1, 2.
Okay.
Why change?
I think was the original vote.
3-3.
Yeah, it was.
And that was
me,
down,
Alex,
that's
yeah,
why it was
and
bound to
then-
happen like that. So, well, we're starting this off great, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for starting it off the way you did.
And this is it's also something where we can reorganize at another point, right?
Yeah.
Like this is not our only opportunity. And so if
Absolutely.
we do want to shift it around, we can.
Okay, we have the tally on that.
um,
Yes. The dynamic for another year.
So now clerk. I'll take a motion.
Wait, we still have no vice chair.
No, we do.
Oh,
We do.
Lanny.
No, we don't.
Valley
made that clear.
For the vice chair.
I made that clear.
Thought we did, just did.
Ally-
no,
that's-
It's getting more and more
Yeah,
confusing.
Lanny's nomination failed, so now we get to the vice.
Again, to renominate.
We're lucky Darren Marcy's not here tonight.
Okay, do I have a second?
1 second.
Do I have a second? Any discussion?
Hold on. There you go.
Yeah, I have a question for Ally about switching your vote. I mean, if you,
We've already had the vote, I think.
you'll feel free to, I mean, obviously you're seconding this one, so I'm just curious if you obviously don't have to answer, but I feel like the public, you switched it in public and in vote, so just posing the question, which you don't have to answer.
I mean, yeah, I'm not, obligated to answer, but I mean, I will say that I was on the fence in the first place. And I can understand why that may be hard and disappointing for you, Lanny, and I truly mean no disrespect,
As
but
expected, so.
that's the choice that I made.
No, as expected, thank
So
you.
we have a motion and a second on Dan as vice chair. Any discussion?
Again, I will not vote for Mr. Fraser as chair due to the same reasons I gave before. I believe he's been very intolerant to members of the public when they've spoken. He's been very rude to me as a board member, and I'm not corrected on that. And he does not engage in conversation of the board during our open meetings, nor does he engage in conversation with the board in the executive sessions as well. So
Okay.
they're training for abundance on.
All
That does
right.
not show growth.
That's it.
Since we're back at this vote, I'll just reiterate my reasons, still stand.
Yeah.
I would just like to point out that there should be no discussion of what happens in executive session by Mr. Collins or anyone else.
Thank you, Dan. All right, we'll call the vote. Lanny,
And no,
Rocket,
Nay.
Ally,
I,
Mary,
I,
Dan, abstain. Okay, Kim,
Hi,
and I will vote aye.
okay, so give me a second here.
I think it's 4-1.
Needed.
didn't you vote? No,
No, nay.
you voted no? Yeah.
For different reasons, but.
Yeah, so, yeah. 4-2. A 4-2 vote.
So, yeah, and then one.
4-2-1.
Dan abstain, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, and I'll take a motion for clerk. Yeah, do
I'd like to make a motion that Kim continue as clerk.
I have a second?
I'll second that motion if this is something she's agreeable to.
I'm doing it right now. Yeah. Okay, sorry. And thank you for asking. I'm happy to.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second on Kim. Any discussion?
Yeah, Kim, for all of our disagreements, I think you do an excellent job as clerk, so
Thank you.
that's happy to support that.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Lanny,
Yes.
Rocket,
Yes.
Ally,
I,
Mary,
I,
Dan,
Aye.
Kim, are you gonna vote or abstain?
I will abstain.
Yep, and I will vote aye.
Thank you for your confidence.
Thank you. All right, well, that takes,
Just to confirm Robert's rules, it is correct. It is permissible to vote for you.
I knew that. Thank you.
okay, we're gonna move to the liaison assignments. I guess in this case, are people happy with their current assignments? Are there assignments they'd like to see if someone else wants to take on or that they're
Yes.
interested in?
Yes.
Is that yes, you want to?
I want to change, I would like to change an assignment that I have.
Okay, what assignment is that and what do you want to change it to?
Well, we agreed in last session that I would like the town manager search committee. And I would also, we had discussion regarding H Corey, and I would like H Corey as well for committee, and I would like the HCC to remain on HCC.
All right, so Lenny wants to keep HCC and then go to H Corey. I think we'll talk about, you want to talk about the town search committee when we,
There's a hand up.
okay,
Michelle.
sure, go ahead.
Yeah, oh, am I on? Yeah, okay. Michelle, you can go ahead if you're ready.
Yeah, thanks. Michelle Bolesky, White River Junction. So before you guys get into the discussion about liaisons, I have a question. What is a liaison? What is the duty of a liaison? There are different committees, different tasks for liaisons. Where is that located on the website? Do you guys have a packet that shows you what you're responsible for when you're a liaison to a committee? Where can the public find that? So if we have questions about things, we can go to the website and not make assumptions. Where is that information?
That is in our select board rules of procedure.
Yeah.
Generally do the requirements of a liaison basically is that, what we do generally is we attend the meetings and then during our commission report section of the regular town meeting agenda, we generally go around and everyone gives an update, like the tree board met and discussed this, everything like that. I can actually read out the rules from our rules of procedure. The select board shall assign liaisons from willing members to the town boards and commissions and the school board, such that every board and commission has a select board liaison. Liaisons are encouraged but not required to attend the meetings of these boards and commissions. If regular attendance is not possible, the liaison should be in regular contact with the chair of the board or commission. Generally speaking, the role of the select board liaison is to be a conduit for information, helping coordinate the activities of various boards and commissions with the select board, not an active or voting participant in the work of those boards and commissions. So it's, as I said, conduit of information that we share publicly during our regular meetings.
Okay, can I still speak?
Yes,
So-
go ahead.
So I'm a little confused. So is a liaison's job disciplining a committee or commission member, taking complaints and then handling that themselves, or is that something that they need to share with the whole board? How does that work?
Well, generally, like I said, it's just attending the meeting and giving updates, but it is, a conduit for information, and we're expected to be in touch with the chair of various boards. So if they feel like sharing something with us as the liaison, they can, and, from there, we would generally share it with the board or, with the public if it's something that should be, like a public statement or public information.
Okay, so if numerous members of a committee or commission get involved with the liaison and there is complaints or concerns, what does that liaison do? Do they take it upon themselves to take action, or do they bring it back to the board chair and the rest of the board so that the board can decide as a group what the action is to take?
Well, I would say, for the most part, they would, if it's something that's relayed to them by members of the board, that's a concern that they think the select board should know about, the liaison would generally, I think, bring it to the select board's attention if it rises, to the level where we need to know about it. So, I think it sort of depends on the situation.
So Mike, what my concern is, like attending a lot of different meetings, is I think sometimes people, there's a lot of like fuzzy areas with liaisons. And, I think it would be really helpful to have clear procedures, protocols, and policies listed so that there's no question, because I am really confused about what happened with the Planning Commission. And I'm concerned. I'm really concerned. And so that's why I'm asking. And I'm trying to get information. And again, I sat on some committees with some board members, and again, it seemed confusing. Like, for instance, with Hikori, I saw school board members going into the school, and, I went to the school board meeting last night, and, someone on the school board said I would never interfere with the matters of the select board. So that's where it gets kind of problematic. And I think it's really confusing to the public. And I think having clear information readily available on the website would alleviate a lot of like mistrust and frustration and anger. And I hope going forward this board, and it looks to me like just watching the beginning of the meeting, that's not going to happen. And I want to say to all of you, like, just grow up. Because I remember sitting next to one of you guys before you got elected, and you told me you were going to destroy Lanny. You didn't know who I was. So I remember that. And it's not okay. No, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Going back to your initial point, we're trying to do better on our website when it comes to the boards and commissions. One thing was the idea that we list like upcoming vacancies there so that people could see what was, going to become vacant so that they could apply. I do think coming up with some protocols, policies on the role of the liaison could be helpful so that there's no confusion, that the public knows what our role is. So thank you. Go ahead, Kim.
Paul, is there any like general update on the website status that could be shared at this point?
Well, as a matter of fact, this afternoon, Dylan and Will showed Gail and I, the preliminary, mock-up. To see how accessible it was, to see how easy it was to read, how easy it was to view, whether it was visually appealing or not. So we are setting up the shell before we move information over. So they've been coming right along with it. They've surveyed all town staff, again, to go over what works and what doesn't work, and took their time and listened very carefully. And their next step is pricing and moving pages and such. So everyone wants it, and everyone's very excited about it. It's as information for the public, and that's what staff wants to give the public. I mean, it works best for all of us. So we're working on it.
Right. I mean, and I would just add to that, like, as one of the working groups of HCORI is the policy working group, which has just kind of been on pause for a little bit. And it's partly, we're at the point, I think, where until the website is back up and running, and that there's actually content there that we can make observations and recommendations about, that there's not a whole lot that can be done until that point, and probably some things that also are going to have to wait until there's a permanent town manager in office. But it's, yeah, definitely a high priority for many of us. And I will also, just because Michelle specifically mentioned the planning commission, I will say as liaison that I did not discipline a member, and I did bring matters over the course of the last year to the select board, and I made a recommendation to not reappoint, which is not a discipline. It's a perfectly appropriate action for select board to take, and we decided that it was really difficult. I was remiss in not thanking former Commissioner Robin Adair Logan for their service for the many years that they served. So I apologize for that, and have reached out to them directly to express that. So I'll just leave it there.
Okay. All right, we'll go back to the liaison assignments.
I just want to say, I saw some of the emails. So what I'm seeing and what you're saying isn't lining up for me. So, but thanks, I'm done.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, we're going back to the liaison assignments. Lanny's expressed interest in HCORI. I'll just open that up for discussion, I suppose. Because currently Kim and Ally are the two liaisons for HCORI.
I mean, can I respond?
Yeah, of course.
I'm happy to follow through with the kind of informal agreement we made about the town manager search committee.
Mhm.
I'm not sure. So it'd be interesting. One thing I was wondering is if because that was not a warning thing, because it's not like listed on the liaison thing, it's like member of the committee. If we need to warn that on the next meeting and then vote as a board to approve it.
I think what we had planned for the next meeting was to essentially ratify the action we took, which was to amend the charge. So there'd be 2 staff members instead of 1. And so what I think we can do is at the next meeting, we'll ratify that, ratify our actions to amend the charge to include 2 town staff members. And if we want, then I think we could, if you said, I want to resign from being appointed, and then we could just vote to have my position.
Is that, I mean, the only thing that I think that would be a fine process. One thing that maybe like the 2 of us could send, I mean, I think it is important to start as soon as possible to coordinate the committee to get the first meeting scheduled.
I was going to get with Lana and have a doodle poll sent out for meeting times. If I was put on that board, that was going to be my first course of action to do that.
With Lana? Why with Lana?
Because Lana's our person that does that kind of stuff for the board. So that would be my suggestion.
I mean,
I'll be fine to do that.
Okay,
I would do that, but if you're still the member that's on it, that would be your task, I guess.
why don't they do it, but we'll copy.
That's fine.
Yeah, you could vote.
To set up the.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That way we don't lose a
That's fine.
period of time. HCORI, I think I would kind of defer to thinking that my preference is to stay on. And I think after our discussion last I guess it was last year, right, when we had that discussion.
Mhm.
We thought about it after the fact, and he was wondering if there were, if there was an actual protocol, you know, as Michelle stated, there's a lot of things that we don't have actual process like documented for. And I kind of presumed that because I had some seniority that I might have, just in terms of service on the board, that I would have, if it came down to two members wanting the same position, that would be a factor, like, you know, other than.
I've spoke to a lot of members of HCORE who were actually disappointed that I wasn't put on there, and they thought it would be better for the community. That it would serve the community well because of the fact that we're on different sides of the issues, and I could bring a lot of perspective from those people that support me for that role, and be able to gain some insight from them to bring back to my constituents.
I don't know if I spoke to the same people, but I heard actually the same thing from HCORE seated members about land.
So I'm curious about that. I guess it's probably not appropriate to know, but how should we proceed, Mr. Chair?
The way I look at it now is we've got two people in that position. Either one wanted to step aside for Lanny, they could do so. I think that's a.
I would just make
You guys.
I would just make a statement in that I think by your and Ally continuing that role as HCORE liaisons, it sends a message to myself as well as a lot of the other community that you don't want to see the change that is needed from a standpoint of racial equality and equity.
Before we dig our board into a big argument, may I just suggest, I would suggest that we keep Kim and have Lanny serve as the two liaisons.
If Ally still wants
I would
to.
be fun with that. Ally, are you comfortable with that?
I feel really committed to this committee
Cool.
and have also built, relationships with those committee members that feel very important. I would not feel inclined to.
But surely what was said last year with Lanny was that anyone can go and be a member. So being committed, emotionally committed, surely you can still attend. I understand Kim's investment, and I hear, I don't know if I agree, but I hear the argument of seniority. We had this whole thing last year with Lanny wanting to be on it, and I totally think that it makes sense to have a diverse set of viewpoints from our board represented on HCORE. And that to me strikes me as fair, that at least we would have a diversity of viewpoints represented. I also think, given the whole recent vote switch of to tonight, I think, like, why not just let Lanny serve on some of these things that he cares about?
We've got Kim and Ally in that position. Anyone? Kim?
Couple of things. One, I graciously, I was happy to serve on the Tom David Research Committee.
Yeah.
I did do that. I think there have been gestures made to try to be more supportive and I don't want to use the like inclusive in generally speaking, not to, but like when you say diverse perspective, what are you referring to?
I think that there is a widespread perception, which I share, which is that you and Ally see political, social, cultural manners from a very similar standpoint, and that Lanny's is.
This is a nonpartisan body.
I totally understand that, but also the walk of life, your social community, the percentage of votes to which you're aligned on the board or elsewise. I mean, like, well, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, I think everyone in town believes that you two are probably more shared in perspective than you are, either of you is with Lanny. So that's sort of what I mean, is just to have a diversity of opinion. He's a veteran. He's a native born Hartford resident. He's in with me, but he's in the majority, many of the minority outvoted votes. I think, like, having different perspective, like, what's the argument that you told Lanny last year, which was he can attend if he cares and he could be right. But the point is, why is that argument valid last year to Lanny, but not valid this year to one of you?
May I respond?
Kim, and then I think we need to do something on
Yeah, I
this.
think this would be like your job as chair to figure out how we're supposed to navigate this, but which I has, but I also think there is something to be said for the the people in that role, like it being willing to give up, I'm willing to give up planning commission if someone wants planning commission or a revolving loan fund. I mean, I'm so also committed to HCORI in the sense of working with I've asked for a place on the next agenda to see if the board is willing to continue to delegate me as board training coordinator. And then with a plan to come forward with some more training recommendations, which is directly related to HCORI, the whole community safety review process, which was a recommendation of HCORI. Anyway, like, I feel like there is some like entitlement to having served
Entitlement.
to having served
Oh, my word.
on these committees. And then if we choose to give them up, or we're gonna have, we can have a vote on it. I mean, I don't know what is the.
Just to clarify, since that you feel entitled to continue service. Is that what
So-
you're saying?
Because
well-
I have been serving on it.
Yeah, so the way I look at this right now is that we are all in our liaison assignments. If someone wants to give one up and someone wants to voluntarily take that person's one, that's fine.
Done.
But if we, you know, it's,
Okay, I'm
I
going
just don't
to,
really get it. Unless the majority of the board says, hey, we're gonna change up these two liaisons, then I think we just move on. If they.
I'm gonna say this, and that's all I'm gonna say, is that this is the opportunity for us as leaders of this town to show that we're committed towards fostering an environment that is inclusive for all. And I think that we're dropping the ball on that.
I mean, I'm going to say this as still the only racial minority on this board, which is that I mean, so John Hall and I had dinner after our exchange here, and there are a diversity of opinions amongst colored people as there are amongst the citizenry of the town. And I personally would love to see a new face. I mean, would one of you give up the seat if I wanted to sit on it? Because to me, I just think like my whole argument was that it should be expanded to a committee beyond just racial equity, but all equity. And so, I was voted down by the board that it should continue to be specifically about racial equity. So it makes sense to me then that perhaps I should be the member, or at least one of the two liaisons on the board.
I would be willing to support that.
Now, I would say that I don't necessarily want to do it, but I would do it. But for me, it just feels a little bit weird and frustrating that the two of you are so ideologically committed to this being only a racial equity committee and only being the liaison. I am the only racial minority on this board. Every time we sit,
We're gonna move on from this.
I am the only person to voice in this town leadership at this level what the experience is of a colored individual. So I would like that. Some of that where I'm supporting Lanny is because I do think that some degree of diverse opinion is not being reflected. So to me, it is a little bit frustrating. It is not something that I'm going to give up easily. And if you don't want Lanny to be on it, then I will volunteer to be on it. And I would ask one of you to give up the seat.
Tim?
I'm going to offer to give my HCORI seat to Lanny with the caveat that I would like someone to take my Hartford revolving loan fund committee as well.
Okay, we have a proposal from Kim to let Lanny on that. If
So,
someone takes her.
I will take your Hartford revolving loan fund.
And HCORI.
If H. Corey and Town Manager Search,
Mhm.
if you will take zoning.
When do they meet?
They just met last night. So Wednesday nights.
So Wednesday nights is also
It's
HCORI.
gonna say, so that's, there we have to throw that whole
Is it-
round robin in. It's
Says
not every
Steve-
Wednesday,
Steve
no.
Specific schedule.
Yeah, it's got their own schedule.
Oh, right, because it was also with planning
Yeah.
commission.
I did not meet last night because I didn't know
mean,
if I was still on
I
there.
figured I'd be willing to give HCORI and I would still attend as a non-voting member.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I want to take zoning on. But is there anyone else?
But
interested?
Rocket, would you take, I would applaud Rocket for taking on the role of H. Corey.
Like you're
I know,
take the seat.
but I want to cover zoning. That's the thing. I want zoning to be covered. Zoning's important.
You guys had a proposal, you gotta
I'll take it. I'll take
figure
that.
out
I'll take
how
that.
you wanna do it. But I think Kim's proposal to leave H. Corey, Lanny to go on it was contingent, what on?
Okay, and also taking revolving loan.
When is our Hartford
They're
business
8:30 in the morning, oh no, quarterly.
only quarterly?
I'll
Third
take- I'll take it.
Wednesday,
You take that?
Yeah.
Okay, Rocket will take HBRLF.
revolving loan fund, and then Lanny on H. Corey.
Yeah, and I will take HCC again.
Unless, maybe.
Unless someone else wants it. And we can.
No, I
discuss
really
it.
like HCC.
I know, but you can still
So-
do it. I mean, I was thinking, because in fact, was talking to great extent with Emily about my post, when I'm post select board, there is a project that I want to continue that will directly relate to that, but I can do that offline, so that's fine. I don't have to be on it.
Okay, I think we figured this one out. So Rockets on the Hartford revolving loan fund, Lanny,
He's
So I should be taking these minutes. shouldn't I?
8:30 on Wednesday mornings quarterly.
Yeah,
When is the next meeting of HCC?
HCC.
Not HCC, but of the H Corey.
This coming a week from yesterday. 15th. Or 14th.
15th. Beware the Ides of March.
Exactly.
At what time?
6 o'clock.
Where do they meet?
What?
Where do they meet?
What?
Where do they
Where
meet?
do they meet? Here in
And Zoom.
hybrid, I mean, it's hybrid, so,
Third floor.
um,
Dan, are you interested in any other committees with drawing
I'm
one?
happy with mine.
Mary?
Yeah, I'm happy with mine and also continuing as first alternate for school board.
Okay. Ally, are you happy with yours?
Yes.
Okay, Rocket, are you happy with yours?
I'm actually thinking that maybe I also want to be on H Corey.
Well, I think that's been settled.
Well,
I
I
guess someone could make a motion for you to be.
Wait a minute, how do we settle zoning though?
Sister City and I have town and school meeting committee. And I have Hartford
Hartford-
Historic.
Hartford
Preservation,
revolving loan fund
and
too,
I have
right?
Hartford revolving loan fund.
We still have to cover zoning.
Yeah,
If I'm,
I thought you were gonna keep that.
well, if I'm able to make the meetings, yes, but if they overlap with H Corey,
Probably will overlap sometimes, but not all the time.
okay, I'll keep it then.
Why don't you keep it and check out the,
let's keep it and then see if they're gonna be conflicts, then someone else can take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, I think I would love to serve on H Corey with Nanny. That would be a nice change. And Ally, if you would be willing to give that up, I could swap you Sister City and HHBC, which both meet Wednesdays.
I'm not willing to step down from that committee.
But you would rather take it on the racial equity committee than to relinquish that.
I would like to stay on the committee.
It looks like we are settled with H. Corey unless we had a motion or something.
Do a vote.
Well, I'm making a motion to nominate myself to serve on the Hartford
Can
committee on,
you make a motion to nominate yourself?
okay, I don't know, can I?
Make a motion to
No.
nominate Rocket for Hartford H Corey. Let's get this done with,
In lieu of Ally,
in lieu of Valley. Just
All right.
get this done with it.
we have a second.
Interesting.
Hearing none, I think that motion fails.
Nice for.
Just to be clear and put this on public record, the select board of Hartford has elected not to allow the one racial minority to serve on the Hartford Committee on Racial Equity and Inclusion.
Okay, thank you, Rocket. So Ally, you were good with your committees. Rocket, looks like, you've got the ones you've got.
Yeah,
So
I
let's
guess if
just-
I'm being prevented from serving on the Committee on Racial Equity and Inclusion, then I will continue in my post.
Okay. So Dan, Mary, Ally wanted to keep the same. Kim,
I'm actually inclined to take the advanced transit.
okay,
Did that get cleared through legal that we could,
I think it did, but also I actually met with the director today and like, I think it is, anyway, just learned more about the expectations and the requirements. And I think it is. I mean, like they said that Joe Major was the previous, had filled this, that's where the vacancy came from before. And prior to that, were you on that? or no, you've just been on the UVAC thing. Prior to that, I don't know that it was an active board, but like it isn't, I don't think it's treated like a regular liaison, like we didn't have Joe reporting back to the board during commission reports.
I guess I didn't pay enough attention when Gail sent out the email and got the lawyer's response, but I would definitely follow up and make sure that town legal is cleared that without being a conflict of interest.
Okay, I think it was, but anyway, so we don't even have to include it in this portion, but I'm considering joining.
Do you remember, Paula?
I was on vacation when the gentleman came and spoke, but prior to that, it was my understanding that it's a select board member may serve on it, but it doesn't come back to the select board.
Okay.
It's sort of like when Joe served on it, they recruited him as the UVAC director, not as someone elected for the town.
They were stuck talking about how their bylaws.
Yeah,
that
required,
some way.
actually
that the
required.
Town had to recommend someone. I mean, also, then we should
Right.
take it off this liaison list.
It should not be. on
Frankly,
this
okay,
liaison.
let's take it off there and
At
just
all.
forget the discussion and I'll work offline with that.
Okay. Are there any committees sort of outstanding? We know where everywhere's going. I know, Lanny, let me know or let us know if the zoning board conflicts too often with
Yeah.
it, Corey, and I can take that one on.
They didn't get covered last night, but that's okay.
And-
So,
and I'll look up the legal opinion, but besides taking advanced transit off of here, I would caution against it being advanced transit being discussed as
Sure.
something among all of you. More so, it's almost sort of like you're an individual from Hartford who the board
Okay.
is going to
Not
say,
representing the
"Yes,
board."
if you're interested as a resident of Hartford,
Okay.
we'll recommend you."
I get that. That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think we've got all our assignments then.
So, and Lanny, you have Corey, HBRLF, zoning, and HCC.
yes.
Just to be clear, this board feels like Ally understands the needs and the issues of racial equity greater more than we do. That's correct.
I think that we decided that we were comfortable with Ally still being in the, on H40. Right.
I'm sorry, just for the minutes. And so Brackett, you're still on sister cities.
HHPC, PSMC,
Wait, what's HHPC?
Historical
Historical,
Preservation.
OPC, okay. Those-
Town School Meeting Committee, Revolving Loan Fund.
Oh, wait, you're doing loan fund? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do that. And Ellie, you're Resilient Hartford and H4.
Corey, and Housing and Homelessness Committee.
And Mike,
I am on,
oh, thank you. Okay, can I keep this? All right, let's do that.
I'm on, school board liaison and let's see the other one
Climate
called
advisory.
Upper Valley Leadership Committee. That committee,
It's done.
yes.
Okay.
It is the cast? No, cast.
Well, it's got climate advisory committee and then climate action steering team. It's had you both.
Committees. Yeah,
So you're still doing that?
yeah, I'm still doing cast.
We're gonna change the seating layout here at all, or will we all?
People feel like they want to change up seats. I guess they
No,
can.
no, not at all. I just, enough wanted to sit over next to Dan.
I think this is
Yeah,
I think I'd like to rub elbows with Dan during the meetings.
just for the
I
next
think-
meeting.
Believable.
I think it is imperative for us not to make comments like this that are so banal and, instead of being professional,
How's it been
I
all?
think it's really important. Let's just get on with the business of the town rather than finding ways to attack.
It's not attack. I would like to have a better relationship with Mr. Fraser.
Okay, I will
So-
take a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
Well, second.
No,
That's it.
that's it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Sure. Night, Rocket.
Thanks for the science.